Hey everyone, Wes here filling in for Jimmy. So as you know, Ghost of Tsushima was one of the most beloved Sony games from the PS4 era, and it continues to be brought up rather frequently when people talk about the best open world games ever made. Sucker Punch took everything that they learned from the infamous games and created something truly unique with a beautiful and immersive world, an awesome combat system, and a minimalist UI that other AAA games hadn't dared to try. With such a success on their hands, it's kind of hard to believe that Sony hasn't rushed out a sequel or even announced one at this point, but a ton of stuff has leaked over the last year, as well as the last couple of weeks, about an official follow-up to Ghost of Tsushima, and in today's video we're going to go over absolutely everything that you may have missed. So let us know in the comment section if you're excited for Ghost of Tsushima 2. Make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any future updates, and let's get started. Now, as a quick recap about how all of this started, the first Ghost of Tsushima game dropped in July of 2020, and it was the last big PlayStation exclusive game for the PlayStation 4 era. So talk about a great way to close that chapter. According to developer Sucker Punch Productions, Ghost of Tsushima started development in 2014, and the game only went gold a few weeks before its July 17th launch date, but it was also well worth the wait because it ended up being one of the best reviewed games of the year and was one of the best-selling first-party Sony games of all time. It was nominated for a ton of awards, including Game of the Year at the 2020 Game Awards, and it actually won the Player's Choice Award that year, which honestly I would argue that that's the more important achievement. And a little over a year after its initial launch, players were treated with a director's cut re-release on both PS4 and PS5. When it was all said and done, Ghost of Tsushima sold around 10 million copies, and it was one of Sony's most profitable games to come out in the last 5 years, but we'll talk more about that in just a bit. Perhaps the most underrated part of Ghost of Tsushima was the excellent multiplayer mode called Ghost of Tsushima Legends, that launched a little after the base game and perfectly translated the gameplay of the single-player experience into a competitive PvP player deathmatch in a number of different modes. There was even a co-op survival mode that was super underrated and basically let you play a feudal Japanese version of COD Zombies. Seriously guys, the multiplayer aspect of Ghost of Tsushima doesn't get nearly enough love that it does today. Nowadays, it seems like a good multiplayer experiences can only be found in standalone live service games, but Ghost of Tsushima's multiplayer reminded me of the good old days when AAA games would come out with both a great single player component and a multiplayer experience, and I'm really hoping that the sequel decides to follow suit on this. But shifting gears back to the sequel, you may have heard about the insane leaks that came out of the Insomniac Games hack that happened recently, and while most of us were kind of focused on the leaked Wolverine gameplay, there was also a ton of internal documents from the Sony side of things that made their way onto the internet, and it actually shed a bit of light on where Ghost of Tsushima 2 actually is and how it may differ from the first game, at least from Sony's point of view. Now keep in mind that these leaks aren't 100% confirmed. They did state that Ghost of Tsushima had a budget of roughly 60 million, which is absolutely insane because most first-party games break the $100 million mark during the game's production. In fact, it was recently revealed that Insomniac's first Spider-Man game had a budget of roughly $90 million, and the sequel had an insane budget of over 300 million. So the fact that Ghost of Tsushima sold over 10 million copies off of just a budget of 60 million is pretty insane whenever you consider it, and should be more than enough to justify a sequel. And as we're about to get into it, it seems like there is definitely going to be a sequel, but these leaked budget numbers should give you at least some confidence that Sony is going to get Ghost of Tsushima 2 out eventually, even if they seemingly don't want to announce it just yet. Now, as you may or may not be aware, Sony themselves seemingly accidentally leaked Ghost of Tsushima 2 a while back, but they haven't said anything about it ever since. And they've also seemingly tried to scrub the evidence of their flub from the internet for obvious reasons. In case you missed it, Sony released a promotional video a while back where they did the usual thing, show a bunch of clips of first-party games one after the other before showcasing the PlayStation logo. But one of those clips was a never-before-seen Ghost of Tsushima clip that fans quickly realized was unreleased footage from the sequel. This promo was quickly deleted and re-edited to remove the Ghost 2 footage, but at that point the damage had already been done. A number of trusted gaming insiders also claimed earlier that year Ghost of Tsushima 2 has been in development for quite some time and is ready to be revealed and shown off, but nobody really knows why Sony has been sitting on it for as long as they have. But all of the evidence points to there being a second Ghost of Tsushima game deep in development, and really all we have to do at this point is wait for Sony to give Sucker Punch the green light to confirm it, at which point there probably won't be much of a wait until we get our hands on it. Another potential piece of Ghost of Tsushima 2 information that leaked recently pertains to the long-rumored PC port. Sony has been doing their best to push into the PC market with their first-party games, and some of them have been pretty big successes, all things considered. Obviously, no Sony games on the PC have rivaled the PlayStation versions in terms of the sales, but that kind of is expected when Sony refuses to release them day and date. When you include the PC version of the game in the initial hype of the console version, you can get some insane sales, which was proven once again earlier this year by Microsoft and Starfield. Starfield was one of the best-selling selling games of the year despite it launching on Game Pass, and it reportedly sold around 60% of its copies on the PC, largely because the PC version came out the same day as the console version, so the PC community would be included in the initial hype campaign. Other first-party games like Forza Horizon and Halo Infinite have proven to be hits on the PC thanks to the marketing and launch synchronization, and according to some leaked documents, Sony may be starting to inch closer and closer to that strategy. The leaked documents suggest that Sony now only requires email approval to get funding for the PC port of first-party games, and the inexpensive ports are basically guaranteed to be greenlit. According to the documents, both Spider-Man 2 and the upcoming Wolverine game already have PC builds in development, and if the Spider-Man 2, a $300 million game, can get a PC port greenlit, I really don't see a reason why a $60 million game like Ghost of Tsushima can't get one too. The documents also claim that Sony's definition of inexpensive is $30 million or less, and in case you don't know much about PC ports, they cost way less to make than the full-fledged console games. All video games are developed on the PC, so working a consumer PC build of a game generally isn't that difficult once the game is up and running. And again, if games like Spider-Man 2, Horizon Forbidden West can get PC ports, I really don't see a reason why a $60 million game like Ghost of Tsushima can't. Another thing to consider with the Ghost of Tsushima IP is the upcoming film adaptation that has been well in development for quite some time now. The movie is in development by the same person that was behind the John Wick movies, so I'm really excited to see what that ends up looking like. In June of 2023, the director stated that the movie is in heavy development, which in Hollywood terms means it's probably 12 to 18 months away from release. Movies tend to go through production much quicker than video games, and generally speaking, the less CGI a movie needs, the quicker it gets finished. Given the fact that Chad is also known for making movies with a ton of raw action scenes, I think the fact that it was in heavy production back in June means it should be out by next Christmas at the very least, and there may even be a trailer dropping early next year. But if Ghost of Tsushima movie is going to hit theaters next year sometime, I think it's safe to assume that Sony is going to want to cross-promote it and get either the PC port or the official sequel out within 6 months of the movie release, because personally I'm expecting to see a PC port drop in the first half of next year, and then we'll end up getting a trailer or the sequel at some point in the fall or winter, maybe even at the 2024 Game Awards. And then after that, we will get the eventual Ghost of Tsushima 2 on the PS5 maybe sometime within the first half of 2025. However, it was confirmed recently from PlayStation that they will have no major franchise titles until April of 2025, and that was confirmed by PlayStation themselves. Either way, we are on the final stretches until we get Ghost of Tsushima 2. The hype is definitely real. I can't wait to play this game. I absolutely loved my time with the first, and I can't wait to see what Sucker Punch Productions does this next time around. Let me know what features you guys would like to see with Ghost of Tsushima 2 and what your thoughts about all of this news. Would you be excited for a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, or did you think that it was just a one and done situation? Be sure to let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel with your notifications turned on so you don't miss out on anything in the future. And until next time, this has been Wes filling in for Jimmy, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.